is Virginia Holmes. I am from the south side of Greensboro. My family is indigenous to the Warnersville community. We still acknowledge it as such, even though we were annexed into Greensboro many, many years ago. I am also a product of the urban housing development community. I have lived in just about every Section 8 home, with the exception of Smith Homes, in this community of Greensboro. I'm very proud to have roots from here. I just come to set a little bit of intention. Our lovely moderator did a phenomenal job at opening up, but I do want to do some house rules here, if that's okay with y'all. Is that good? All right, so for one, I want to begin by acknowledging that we gather on the traditional lands of the Kiawe and Sara peoples, and we honor their continued care for this land. We also lift up the legacy of community organizers, elders, and young leaders who've carried the work for justice here forward in Greensboro, especially those from Cottage Grove and East Greensboro, who've shown us what resilience looks like. Before we move forward, let's ground ourselves in a few agreements for how we will hold this space tonight. I understand that everybody has a lot they want to say, but we will listen with respect, deeply, and speak truth with care. We will be timely. We will keep our responses brief so that everyone's voices are heard. We will speak with truth always. This is a safe space, y'all. We in the church. Amen. We commit to honesty and accountability here. Amen. Community first. Every question tonight centers on the people most impacted by the issues at hand. So we appreciate those who come in allyship, but keep in mind that these issues are directly affecting a certain percentage of your constituency, and we expect decorum and a little bit of couth if you can manage it. With that being said, we'll hear directly from community members who live and lead right here in East Greensboro. Though I'm from the south side, I love the East of Greensboro, okay? Do we have any Aggies in the room? We just had a good homecoming. I knew it was coming, okay. They'll share lived experiences and on-the-ground insight into the issues guiding tonight's town hall, which are community-centered safety, affordable housing, and Bingham Park full remediation, and also environmental justice, okay? Each community member will have about 3 minutes, followed by one community resource person who will speak for about 7 or so minutes, and we will give him time to help frame the broader context of these struggles. So, without further ado, let's welcome our community panelists. For starters, we're going to start with community-centered safety from our speaker, Ms. Terry Jones.
Are we started?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, hello. Thank you. All right, so I'm Terry Jones. I live in the east side of on the east side of Greensboro, and as someone who lived on Everline and Everett Street growing up, a former Hampton Elementary student, and as someone now who raises their family here, my family and I have seen a lot of crime, abandoned houses, homelessness, lack of safe and welcoming spaces. So really my question to you guys are, what does community centered safety mean to you? And if you don't live on the east side of Greensboro, how does it look in your neighborhood? And how would you bring that to our side of town? How do you plan to address public safety without over-policing, especially in our neighborhoods where residents feel unsafe, but also unheard? Would you commit to funding community-based programs that prevent violence, especially for our youth, through mentorship, art, wellness, rather than only reacting after harm happens? Would you support prioritizing East Greensboro and citywide improvement budgets for vacant lots or cleanup repairs? One question that stuck out to me was for my daughter, right? So one day she asked me, like, why can't we leave our door open, right? And I remember a time where I used to sit around listening to my grandmother talk about how their community was so safe because everybody took care of each other, where they left their door open. People came by your house. And that really made me think about, one, how I feel about my neighborhood, how I feel about the people that visit or come in or live there, And another thing is what my family sees and how they experience community. Another thing that makes me think about community and safetyness is the fact that my kids have seen things I would never want them to see. Um, I had took a class at the Nussbaum Center, and it was like building, helping you do like carpentry, electrician, all this other stuff. And I got home around 9 o'clock, and I have a big dog. She's a big scary dog, but she's scared of everybody, right? But she's in the house, and I'm like, why is she not barking, right? So I'm just making noise outside. And while I'm making noise outside, my son says to me, Mama, stop, you're gonna scare those people that are next door to another house in the green space. And while we look over, I see the boy pointing a gun at somebody else right beside my house. And me telling my kids to run in the house. And the boy who's getting robbed come to me. So I just want to know, how do y'all want to and can address these issues of safeness and making our community safer space? Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. All right. Now we're going to go over to affordable housing. And we'll welcome to the microphone Miss Michelle Battle.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Battle. I'm new in the Greensboro area, but have had experience in the housing industry. My main focus tonight is to get involved with more affordable housing and criterias of families meeting the obligations. Because of the supply and demand of imbalances, there is a significant shortage of affordable housing units. With the demand far exceeding the supply, this is a citywide issue affecting neighborhoods, including East Greensboro. This is a very touchy subject for me because of what I have seen being in the industry, what I have came around as far as families, treatment under health conditions, living conditions. We need the change, and we need to make sure that our families understand the eligibility of requirement programs. When we look at affordable housing, it's quite a few families don't realize that it's an income sliding scale issue where you can go into family affordable housings on a 30% or 60%. If you have a large family and you live in, with 5 people, you can go as high as a $44,000 income. What I'm suggesting to all families that's in the research for affordable housings in general, please get online. Please get involved with your resources for self-efficiency living. Section 8 is broken down in several types of voucher. It's not just Section 8. Section 8 eligibility falls in different categories. So the most important thing to me at the present time of my life is to continue to stay in the community, continue to be there for families, continue to assist families on proper housings, and fight with my leaders in the community to get the issues of properties up to par. I'm good.
And we heard you. You did not need a mic, honey. We heard you loud and clear. Thank you so much, Ms. Battle. Next, we'll go towards environmental issues centered around Bingham Park. We have a speaker by the name of Britton. Are you here, darling? Yes. Hi. We'll clap for Britton, okay?
Hello, my name is Brenton, and I'm 13 years old. I live here in Cottage Grove in the Willow Oaks development with my family, and I'm homeschooled. Being homeschooled means I learn a lot at home, and not just from books. I learn by doing things, by exploring, by being outside. here, I can't do that. I can't go in my own backyard and dig in the dirt like kids are supposed to. I can't build forts or play with my little brothers outside. We're scared of the soil, the air, and the water. My brothers and I stay inside most of the time. We don't get to enjoy fresh air in our own yard. We don't get to run around and be kids. We have one vehicle and my father uses it to get to work. My parents have to drive us to other parks far away just so we can play safely. But we deserve a clean park right here in our own neighborhood. I've had health problems too. We are always getting sick, even though we homeschool. My dad is very cautious coming home, bathing and changing, even wearing a mask around us if someone at work seems sick. I got a rash on my face from mold in our water. I have to see a dermatologist for continuing treatment. That's not normal. That's not okay. I'm speaking today because I want things to change. Not just for me, but for all the kids in Willow Oaks. We need clean soil, clean water, clean air. We need a park that's safe and healthy. We can play, learn, and grow. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope that if any of you here tonight are voting, you will vote for a better quality of life, and for those running to commit to seeing Bingham Park fully remediated and the White Street landfill permanently closed. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Johnson. I'm Brenton's grandmother. I'm so proud of him to be able to speak up for himself. And we're here not as the community, but representing a part of the community, hoping that we can help others to have a voice. I've lived in Cottage Grove, specifically Willow Oaks, for nearly 15 years. I'm a transplanted New Yorker. I'm 63 years old, disabled, and I live with multiple health conditions: epilepsy, thyroid disease, diabetes, degenerative joint disease, and non-alcoholic fatty liver. And I also have stage 3 kidney disease. I was born with epilepsy. I've been diagnosed with these other ailments, these problems, in the last 7 years since living here. I chose this community because I believe in it. I even encouraged my daughter and her husband to buy a home here after renting in the development. We believed this was a safe place to grow, to heal, to build a future. But now we live in fear of what's in the soil. I've been a part of the Bingham Park Environmental Justice Team since it began. And it was through that work that we learned the truth about the contamination in our soil. What lies beneath Bingham Park is toxic. You heard my grandson. You know how he feels. These are his words. My health is already very fragile, and my daughter is suffering from kidney stones and had her gallbladder removed. She's sick often with undiagnosed issues. She is a stay-at-home mom and a homeschool administrator. I worry every day about the exposure to this environment and what it's doing to my family and all others in our community, in our neighborhood. We can't even let the children go out and play. The soil, the air, the water, it all feels unsafe. I'm so sorry. I'm emotional after this week. We deserve better. This is what I really want to say. We deserve better. We deserve the clean air, the clean water, and the clean soil, and a park that brings not sickness, but health and sustainability. I'm speaking tonight not just for myself, but for every resident who has suffered in silence, for every family who moved here with hope, for every child who deserves to live and play without fear. I stand in solidarity. Tonight, I have Kay Brandon here. She's from the White Street community. We stand in solidarity for the full remediation of Bingham Park and the permanent closure of White Street. I hope that all of you heard my grandson, I can't beat that. Please vote for your quality of life. Vote for people who will stand by you and vote for your quality of life. And that's what we're demanding tonight, to be heard.
you so very much. That actually is very touching. My family grew up in Morningside Apartments as well. It used to be called The Grove back in the day. And that's currently where Willow Oak stands. And now we'll make space for our next speaker, Ms. Kay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kay Brandon. I live in northeast Greensboro, not far from the White Street landfill. And I am here tonight in solidarity with Bingham Park. It is unfair to burden one neighborhood with what should be accomplished in another neighborhood. The Bingham Park needs to have full remediation, not dumped in White Street, and White Street needs to be closed. We don't need to leave it open so that every time there's a situation, it's the solution. And I am disappointed with the way council has dealt with this. I am hoping that a new council will be more sensitive to the needs of both communities. Thank you.
I know that's right. And now, to the point, we'll hear from our community resource person, Mr. Damian Williams.
I appreciate that title. I really do. It takes the pressure off. The first moderator said that sometimes folks still ask you for whom to vote. My suggestion to you is sometimes you have to tell them. The second moderator, she spoke how she grew up in every section of their home, minus Smith Home. Well, I grew up in Harrison. What's wrong with Smith Home? There's nothing wrong with Smith Home. I just partook in a seminar in Chicago 3 weeks ago, and it was talking about the problem with education. And Indian woman says that they don't have that problem in India. And so what was come out of that conversation was their occipital part of their brain has yet to be abused like Americans have, particularly black folks, which means you can see a thing and not see the thing. So I say that now, to fix Bingham Park and what ails you in East Greensboro, you got to call a thing what it is. And it's called environmental racism. And its cousin is educational racism, which is a cousin of social racism, economic racism, and political racism. Our folks have been abused any which way you can imagine, and every which way you can, and it's getting worse now. Why? Because racism is unrelenting, right? We have a municipality, when we talk about the city, the county, and Gifford County Schools, that spends almost $1 billion a year with white folks and less than 2% of black. What do you call that? What kind of justice are you going to get from your political elites when that's ongoing and current? I tell you the answer, and it's none. If a folk can't sit in front of you and tell you what they're going to do and what they stand for, let me tell you what they stand for. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Cancer Alley is Bingham Park, White Street, Buffalo Creek, Barber Park. Many folks don't know that Rotherwood sits on top of a landfill. Kmart on Random Road sits on top of a landfill. So I ask you, where have your council been? Where have your county commissioners been? That they're ultimately responsible for public health. And the rec centers. In Cancer Alley, you're still talking about Pillar, Warnersville, Brown. You're still talking about these centers. That's in Cancer Alley. Where have they been? Do not let them have a pass. Where have Gifford County Schools been? They're ultimately responsible for that prima facie control of your children, meaning when you drop your child off at their door, they're the parents. They can actually kick you out. So if you have that kind of power, where have you been when it comes to the health and welfare of my children? And I'm going to tell you where they've been. Silent. So as you go to the polls, understand for whom you're voting and why you're voting. Tell folks who to vote for. I do, all the time. And unashamedly. All the time. So understand what you're up against, and if a folks stand up here now and they can't stand 10 toes down and tell you they're against the poisoning of your community, the continued poisoning and death of your community. I know plenty of folks grew up in Claremont that had cancer and died in their 40s and 50s, had no idea they were suffering. Somehow we thought there was something internally wrong with us, not knowing it was environmental. But now we know. We can prove it. We can prove it. Bingham Park isn't the answer. for Bingham Park. Bingham Park is your suggestion that we care about you. And if they can't change Bingham Park, or if they're unwilling to tell you, even if you have to send that money back and come back again later. Don't let that little pot of change anything. We're talking about the health and life of people for over a century now. That can't be the answer. So that's my time. I brought in Reverend Ford. My name is Damon Wells. I'm actually the Greensboro Branch NAACP president. Pastor Floyd is our community chair, and I brought him in January for moments just like this. I heard him one time, and I knew we needed it. I knew you needed it. Thank you.
And I'm going to have y'all clap one more time because I want to give them all a round of applause to all of our community truth tellers. Thank you for grounding us in the realities of East Greensboro. It's an interesting thing to find myself here right now. And looking at all of you, I can't help but remind myself of the importance of these moments and looking at these young babies up here as well. Because Mr. Damien brought something up that I think is going to be a heavy issue, and I hope you all have prepared your hearts and minds to hear a lot of it tonight because your votes count on it. The issue is bigger than all of us, and it affects all of us. Though I grew up in those Section 8 homes, my family did eventually relocate over to the north side of Greensboro, and I will tell you now there are also other projects that stem from Bingham that are now affecting out as far as Brown Summit. This is not a monolith. This is not linear. So just keep that on your hearts as you come and answer these questions tonight because I could already tell how this is about to go. All right, y'all. We're going to transition over back to our lovely moderator. And again, thank you all for your time today.
For those of us who students of the Bible are familiar with the scripture that says, "He who has an ear, let him hear." Right? So I'm saying that to all of us in the room, particularly the candidates. You have an ear and you have heard. So as we transition, you see people are moving. We're going to have a raffle. What are we giving away at this point? We're going to give away a $100 grocery card. A $100 grocery card. Oh, wait.
Okay, if you have not got a raffle ticket, then I have Janet. Janet, can you raise your hand? If you need a ticket, raise your hand, child. Raise your hand.